if your marriage or long-term relationship failed, or maybe you're going through a divorce now, or maybe you're just not where you want to be in life, chances are it's not due to bad luck. It's more likely that there's factors that maybe you weren't aware of. Maybe they just went under the radar. But I was reading Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, and I was at the part where he's talking about the 30 causes of failure. And as I'm reading these, they really resonated with me, just how many applied to my marriage, my relationship, kind of why I am not where I want to be in life right now. So I thought it'd be great to go over some of them. I'm not going to go over all 30 of them. That would take a long video. But I'm going to go over 10 of the ones that really resonated with me the most, that I know absolutely contributed to why I was not in a successful relationship, why I was not really that happy with the relationship overall, and what actually probably led to the divorce in general. I think the last one is probably the most relevant because that is going to determine everything, but we'll save that to the end. The first cause of failure I want to go over is lack of a well-defined purpose in life. I was 22 when I got married. I did not know what I wanted to be. I did not ever actually think about anything. I kind of just coasted. We got married very young. I was in the military. I got married for the wrong reasons. I wanted to avoid going to Korea, and I didn't want to lose her. So we got married. I didn't really think about where we would go in life. We never even discussed if we wanted kids. We didn't discuss what our future plans were. We just kind of ended up being married out of scarcity and just certain circumstances. So this absolutely applied to me. I did not have any idea where I wanted to go in life, what my plans were, which meant after the military, I knew I should go to school because going to school would guarantee me a job. I just picked the career field of information systems because I knew it'd be job placement. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. It didn't really matter. I just knew I had to have a job. So I didn't have any defined purpose in life on what I was going to do. So then I ended up just taking a software development job after college, which I didn't plan on. I didn't want to do. I was not very good at it. It didn't interest me because I didn't have a plan. That's what I did. And then when I'm working as a software developer, I don't have any plans after that. My wife and I, we've been married for maybe 6 years at that point. Didn't really have any goals, didn't have any idea where we were going. Never, like I said, we didn't discuss if we were gonna have kids in the future. We didn't discuss if we were just gonna live in Wisconsin forever. It was very much just coasting. I'm at this company now. I do my software development from 9 to 5. I come home, I play video games, or we watch movies, or we just not really, I don't know what we're doing. We don't have a plan of what we should do to improve ourselves. So when I read this, it really resonated with me, like why there was failures, not only in relationship at the time, but also my life. I didn't have any sort of vision of where I wanted to go. Could I do this for the next, I would have retired at 65. Like, could I have done that for the next, 30 years at the time? Odds are I could have done it. That's where I was headed. I would have had to do it. I didn't have any other sort of plan. So the first thing that led to, or the first cause of failure that really resonated with me was the not having a well-defined purpose. The second cause of failure that Napoleon Hill mentions is lack of ambition to aim above mediocrity. This was 100% me as well. I went to my job. I did not try. I did not want to improve. I just wanted to clock in and go home. And most of the time, because I was aiming for mediocrity, they would give me a task. I knew I had 2 weeks to complete this task. I would sit and watch YouTube videos about, at the time I was watching YouTube videos about, music videos and maybe interviews with people, like nothing that was gonna ever expand my knowledge in any way, just coasting by. I was fine just delivering the bare minimum to, get them off my back or to get a good enough performance review to where I wouldn't get fired. I never had any sort of ambition, any sort of goals. I didn't have that clear definition of purpose, so I didn't really need to excel at anything. I guess my purpose at the time was just to be employed long enough to get a paycheck and, just coast from there. This also applied to my health, my fitness. I thought I was in good enough shape. I was athletic enough. I thought I was attractive enough, I guess the only person that mattered was my wife at the time. But I was never aiming above mediocrity. I was always just happy, coasting, getting by, which is not a masculine trait either. A woman doesn't want a man that just does average, that just coasts. She sees me sitting around watching movies and video games while other people are excelling, starting businesses, making more money, taking care of themselves, and then she looks at me and is like, why am I with this guy? I have to imagine that would be in her head because I never was rising above mediocrity. So the second cause of failure that's mentioned is the lack of ambition to aim above mediocrity. The third cause of failure is lack of discipline. I did not have a lot of discipline, which was surprising because I was in the military, I was in the honor guard, and I was very disciplined in honor guard. I took that very seriously. I wanted to be as good as I possibly could. I wanted to represent the families, the military. So I was very disciplined. But when I got out of the military and I started going to school, I was disciplined with my studies, but I was not really disciplined with much else. I would easily just find excuses. Like I never set goals for anything. So it was hard to have discipline if I didn't know what I was working towards, that lack of purpose. Not wanting to be above mediocre. So discipline wasn't really ever in my life. I didn't have discipline to wake up early. I didn't have discipline to make my bed. I didn't have discipline to go work out. I didn't have discipline to just try to improve and make more money. I was very much just wake up at minimum time, like how long can it take me to get ready? Probably 10 minutes. So I wake up 10 minutes before I have to leave the house. Then I would eat my candy for breakfast. Then I would eat my fast food for lunch. Then I'd eat my candy after lunch. And then I'd eat shitty dinner. And I never had any sort of goals or ambitions, so I didn't have any need for discipline. I just coasted. So not having any sort of self-discipline was absolutely a cause of failure. It's something that I've obviously been working on after the divorce. I feel like I'm much more disciplined with the habits that I have, drinking my apple cider vinegar in the morning, meditating, making sure I go to the gym, making sure I'm watching useful content, learning new things. But for a long time, it wasn't even a lack of discipline. It was just a lack of any reason to have discipline. But now, because I do have goals, I can envision more of what I want. This is not so much of a factor to contributing to failure. I still do have issues with discipline on my diet. I do convince myself that what's the harm in just having a cupcake today? And then that leads me to eating something else, which then leads, it's called drifting. I was talking about this with a client yesterday, talking about just how quickly you can start drifting without discipline. So example with the food. I started with, I'm doing fine on my diet. And then one day I talk myself into just having pizza for dinner. And then that contributes to me wanting some ice cream. And then the next day, because I already cheated on my meals, that makes me want to eat cookies. And then that makes me want to get a candy bar. And then you just start drifting off this path. Your path is going this way, and then it's just that slight little turn, and then you're just off your path. This was a book from Napoleon Hill also called Outwitting the Devil. And in that book, they talk about how the devil controls about 98% of the population through drifting. So this would, appear in watching too much social media, which then leads to maybe not going to bed on time, which then leads to you not going to the gym. That leads to, and you just see how this path starts diverging just through drifting, just small little habits. And that's a lot due to lack of discipline. So that was absolutely a failure with my marriage, my relationships. I can see why I was failing in that area. I can also see how I'm not where I want to be now because of just these drifts where I do really great on my diet. I want to get to this 165 pounds. I want to be in good shape. And then I start binge eating for just a couple days, and now I'm drifted way off. And then I'm basically starting over, just constantly backtracking. So this is something that I'm aware of. It's something that I'm working on. But this is a cause of failure that he mentioned that 100% applies to why I'm not where I want to be in life and why I had some issues with my marriage. The fourth cause of failure is procrastination. I knew that there was issues in my marriage. I knew that there was things that I could correct. I knew that there was things I could do in my job to make me better at it. I could have, gotten the work done faster. I could have tried to excel had I not had that lack of ambition. But procrastination, this appears everywhere. I still have tendencies to procrastinate because if things are hard, you don't want to do them. In my marriage, I knew that there were steps that I could take that would improve my relationship. I could improve my communication. But I always thought I just had time, or maybe it's a contributor to the other three where I just didn't have that definite a purpose. So I didn't have to take action right away. I could just procrastinate, get to it later. This still happens now where I know I need to send messages out, or I need to get some stuff done for my cleaning business. If it's difficult, I have a tendency to procrastinate, which is a huge cause to failure. If you can just get the stuff done as it needs to be, you'll feel more confident. You'll be on the right path. Procrastination is something that I think a lot of us do feel. Let me know in the comments if this is a big failure for you guys. But I can definitely see how this is preventing me from living at my full potential. Procrastinating about going to the gym on time, and then you show up late, and then you get home late, and then you can't do the extra work that you need to do, or you can't learn anything new, or you just procrastinate reading that new book, you procrastinate learning that new lesson, you procrastinate starting that new business, you procrastinate going out to practice social skills, you procrastinate sending girls messages on online dating, you procrastinate. The list just goes on, and then you're just falling further and further behind. So this absolutely resonated with me. That's why I put it on this list. There's 30 of these things, so a lot of them will contribute to failure, so just to be aware of it. The fifth cause of failure is lack of persistence. This is something that I've had trouble with my entire life. It was definitely an issue with my marriage, my relationships, but my work in general. When things got tough, I had a tendency to just quit and assume that there's no hope, things are too tough, I can't do it. I had very low self-confidence. This goes into persisting with social skills. I would always want to be more charismatic. I would want to be more personable. I'd want to make new friends. But as soon as I felt any sort of resistance, I would just give up and then backtrack. This went into work. As soon as I got a project that was a little too difficult, I would just not really persist with it. I'd find ways to distract myself with the YouTube, and then I would ask for help later. I never pushed myself to do my best, to just try to figure it out. I know I'm capable of a lot of things. I'm not dumb. I just don't put in the necessary effort because it's difficult. I had low self-confidence. I just assumed that people are born with a certain skill, and I didn't have it. So I would just give up. And that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to post YouTube videos every day. I don't want to do it a lot of times. Most of the time, I feel like I'm probably not doing the best job I could be. But I want to be persistent. I want to stay consistent. And that's how I'm going to learn. I don't want to quit just because it's difficult. If I did that, I never would have had the dating life that I've had, and I never would have become the person that I've become with the traveling and everything. It would have been much easier for me to just give up after the divorce, think it was too tough, just accepted what happened. She left me. I guess I'm just alone, or I'll eventually find somebody. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that was absolutely a cause of failure. Growing up in my marriage, I never persisted with improving. We would have a fight. I would do well for a while, and then it would get a little too tough, or I would get comfortable, and then I would just go back to the way things were, where I didn't really communicate, didn't try as hard, just felt like I'm providing, I guess it's good enough. So persistence, cause of failure number 5. The sixth cause of failure is negative personality. This one resonated with me because I always thought that overall I was a pretty happy person. I would smile in photos. I'd be pretty friendly to people that I had just met when I was talking. But also, after reflecting, I did harbor a lot of resentment. I was very bitter towards people. I was envious of people who had things that I didn't. I was envious of people who were better looking than me. I was envious of people who made more money than me. I resented my wife for things that she said or things that she had done. I was just very bitter, and it never never resolved itself because I never looked in the mirror. Like, why am I so envious of my friend who's better looking than me and has his life going for him when he's actually taking steps to improve himself? He's actually taking the right actions, and I'm sitting at home watching TV, complaining and just being negative and talking bad about people. And then when I'm resenting my wife, it's not because necessarily of something that she did, it's because I couldn't express what I wanted. I was that nice guy, covert contract, like, how dare you? I went to the art show with you. Why are you not showing me as much affection as I want? So I was harboring a lot of this negativity, resentment, envy, jealousy, just things that are just toxic to you and doesn't make you overall feel like a happy person. Like, that stuff weighs on you. I feel like I've done a lot better job now, but I still envy people as well who are still farther along than I am. And it's attributing to my failure still, because now I'm wasting my mental energy. It's making me feel bad about myself, which isn't going to help me in the long run. So this is something that I still work on. I would say overall, I'm a very happy, positive person. I love to help people. But I do still get envious. I do still wonder what other people have that I don't. It's something that I work on. Awareness is the first step towards achieving new things. So when I read this, I was like, oh yeah, I thought I was a pretty happy person. And then I'm looking and it's like, oh yeah, bitterness, resentment, envy. That was all stuff that I had specifically in my relationship with my ex. I don't feel like I harbor that so much now in my relationships going forward because I've learned a lot. But it's something that absolutely contributed. So number 6 cause of failure is negative personality. The 7th cause of failure is lack of emotional control. This was something that absolutely affected me. I've mentioned this in other videos. I wouldn't get upset where I would have outbursts or anger. I would just shut down. I did not know how to express my feelings. I would just keep things bottled up. It goes back to, if she didn't do something that I expected, like the covert contracts, I go to the art show, you give me affection. If I was not rewarded with that, I would not show emotions. I would just shut down. I would say everything's fine, and I couldn't express myself in any way, which led to a lot of unattraction by her. Like, now I'm acting like a baby. It also led to not resolving any real arguments. I would just wait until things passed over, wait a few days. Like, I would shut down for a few days at a time. Like, okay, I just won't talk to you for a couple days. And then after a few days, everything's resolved, right? Like, everything just disappeared. Everything was swept under the rug. And that caused a lot of friction in our relationship. It just harbors more resentment on both our ends because nothing is actually taken care of. We're still, that problem never went away. It just, it just kind of died out after a few days, I guess. So lack of emotional control, it's something that I've been working on. I do feel like I'm much more able to be vulnerable, to tell, girls where I've been, which helps me to just express my emotions more. I'm not afraid of that loss of love as much. So I'm able to express anger. I'm able to express love. I'm able to express, just my feelings in general. Whereas before, I would really express anything. I was very much just bottle everything up, stay very neutral, just ignore problems, let them pass by. And it was absolutely a reason to contribute to the failure of the relationship. The 8th cause of failure is fear of criticism. Growing up, I had a huge ego. Even though I was shy and quiet and I didn't socialize, I didn't have girlfriends, I didn't really excel in school in any way, my ego was telling me that I'm smarter than I am, I'm probably smarter than most people, I'm actually cooler than most people, I'm a great husband, I can provide, I'm a great employee, I show up, I could do so much more. Like anything, I always thought I was just so great. And the results didn't show that. Like, I was a quiet kid who didn't have friends. I didn't excel in school. I was terrible at my job. My relationship had ups and downs. But it was anytime I got any sort of criticism, I took that as a personal attack. Like, don't you know that I'm actually very smart? Don't you know just how great of a husband I am? Don't you know that I am a great employee? I just haven't shown you yet. It really, I mean, it really caused a lot of issues. It didn't help me grow as a person, because rather than taking that feedback in of, okay, maybe I am not being as good of a husband, I'm not learning anything, I'm just shutting down. Like, why would you say I'm a bad husband? Why would you say that I'm not contributing to this household? Why would you say that I'm not doing enough around the house? Don't you know I do all this? Like, it was just a hit to my ego. And I read the book, The Four Agreements, and one of the agreements is don't take anything personal. And that really resonated with me when people talk about, like, they have a criticism of me. I would always take that personal, like they had something against me. Like, if they're criticizing me, that means they don't like me. Whereas if you just look at it as don't take their criticism personally, it's just, okay, what are they saying? Okay, she's saying that I don't do enough around the house. Okay, is that true? Yeah, that probably is true. I've been sitting around playing video games all day. It's not that I'm a bad person for not doing these chores. It's that I am not living up to my potential. I'm not contributing like I could. Like, I am not doing what I could, which once I started taking that hit away from my ego, once I'm able to really reflect on what's being said, what the feedback is, I'm able to take more, I wouldn't say criticism. Now I don't consider it criticism. Now I consider it just like feedback. Like, I don't appreciate when you do this. In the past, I would take that very personal. That was criticism. That means you don't like me. That means I'm losing love. Whereas now, because I don't take it personal, I'm able to listen to that feedback and really think about it. Is there some truth behind this? Okay, yes, there is. Okay, what can I do to resolve this? Okay, well, I can start taking these actions. And now, because I don't take it to my ego, if they say that, I can think about it and be like, well, I disagree with that because of these reasons. It's been a huge help in my relationships going forward, because I'm not taking that immediate ego hit. I'm not just shutting down thinking, well, you're totally wrong. You don't know this. You don't know that. Now I'm able to really take that feedback in, think about it, and make a decision off it. Are there things that are true about this? Are there things I could do that would improve this situation? Is there some truth behind this? And if there is, I can make corrections. And if there's not, I can clearly state why I think you might not be right about it. So that's been something I've been working on. That's number 8. The 9th cause of failure is lack of well-defined power of decision. I was never able to make hard decisions. I've talked about this before in a few videos where there was things that happened where if I was able to make tough decisions, our marriage probably would have ended sooner. I didn't have any boundaries, because if you have boundaries, you have to be able to decide, like, this is over, this is a line that's been crossed. And because I couldn't make definite decisions, I would always just kind of drift. Like, okay, this happened, I don't really want to be in the marriage, but I can't decide right now that this is over. I just keep going, we'll see what happens, then we work it out a little bit, and then it gets to, a few years down the line, and because I couldn't make difficult decisions, she's the one that ends up meeting somebody new. They end up, going off and doing their own life. But it was because her decisions, she decided that it was over. She decided that she was moving on. I still couldn't make that definite decision of it's over, because I still wanted to get her back. I still wanted to do what I could to recover the marriage, to, just see where things could go. When I wasn't happy myself, we had been fighting for many years. There was a lot of red flags. I wasn't very happy, but I couldn't make a definite decision to end it. I just was like, we'll just keep working it out. We'll just see what happens. It wasn't until she decided for us, which I'm grateful for, that it's over. If it wasn't for that, probably would have taken her back, probably would still be in the same situation, probably would never have grown as a person. So not being able to make a clear, definite decision was absolutely the cause of some friction in my relationships. It was a reason why we did end up getting divorced, is because she had to make that difficult decision, not me. So I would have just kept failing longer and longer into that relationship. But it's also been a reason why I haven't been able to be as successful as I wanted. I couldn't make definite decisions when I was miserable being a software developer. I couldn't make that definite decision of, it's over, I don't want to do this anymore. I had to wait till I got fired. And then I couldn't make the definite decision of what I wanted to do with the cleaning business. And then I couldn't make that definite decision 2 years ago when I started when I made a YouTube video that, I just never posted it. I couldn't make those definite decisions. So that's one of the things that probably keeps me from being where I want to be now. It definitely contributed to the divorce, my marriage. And it's something I'm working on now. I'm being much more decisive in my decisions. I know every day I'm going to post a video. I know every day I'm going to go to the gym or work out. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm making more difficult decisions. I'm taking tougher actions. So that's cause of failure number 9. The 10th cause of failure out of the 30 that I want to mention is wrong selection of mate in marriage. Like I said, this was probably the biggest factor in a lot of our problems in the marriage, because before we even got married, I knew that there was a lot of red flags. I knew that she had a lot of negativity. I knew that she had that victim mentality, a lot of guilt tripping, and there was just a lot of friction. Like, we had chemistry, but we weren't compatible. We didn't have any set of goals in mind of where we wanted to be. We didn't envision any sort of future. We didn't talk about kids. We didn't talk about where we would live. We didn't talk about where we wanted to travel. It was always much just coasting. And I knew very early on that she had these red flags and that I wasn't comfortable a lot of the times the way she was talking to me or the way that the relationship was going. And because I was in scarcity, I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to lose the only girl that said she loved me. So I stuck with it. It ended up being much more difficult than it had to be. For 12 years, we struggled with fights, ups and downs. Should we end this? Should we not end it? And it all boiled down to she wasn't the right person for me. And I think I knew that because we never tried to have kids. I was never thinking about kids with her. I think in the back of my mind, I always kind of knew that there was something wrong with this relationship. She's probably not the right choice for me, but we are married. We are supposed to be soulmates. We do get along. So I guess everything's fine, right? We'll just keep pushing this down the line. And it turns out that she wasn't the right person for me. Looking back, I see all the red flags that she had, that I had, that why it wasn't the relationship that I wanted, things that contributed to that. So now I've identified very clearly the kind of women I want to be with, what they look like, how they act, how they behave around others. Do they make me look good in front of others? Do they take care of themselves when they leave the house? I know that the kind of relationships I want. So I'm looking for, I'm looking for that girl that's going to fit my life perfectly. I never really recognized this as a cause of failure. Like picking the wrong mate, like, okay. I thought you're just supposed to work it out no matter what. She's supposed to be your soulmate. You guys can push through anything. But she just wasn't the right person for me. It caused a lot of friction, caused a lot of stress for both of us. She knew that I wasn't the right mate for her. We tried to make it work as long as we could because we were committed. We wanted it to work out, but it just turns out that she was not the right person for me. So those are the 10 causes of failures that I really resonated with. Out of the 30, there's plenty more that I could go into. I would recommend reading that book because each of them you can actually see like this is a cause of failure. This does resonate with me at some point in my life. So definitely read through all 30 of those. If you haven't read his book at all, I highly recommend Think and Grow Rich and Outwitting the Devil, both amazing books. I'll leave it there for today. If you guys in the comments, let me know if any of these causes of failures resonate with you. Have you experienced these as well? Are there other causes of failure out of the 30, if you're familiar with it, that really had an impact on you? A lot of this stuff I didn't even know until I was out of the marriage, till I started reading these books. Like, I didn't know I needed a definite cause of purpose. I didn't realize how mediocre I was and how much that really affected my growth as a man, as a person. I didn't really realize just how important self-discipline is. Jim Rohn says without self-discipline, success is impossible, which is, when I think about it, it's absolutely true. If if you can't be disciplined with yourself, how are you going to be successful? How are you going to take those right actions? So after, just getting out of divorce and just reading these things, listening to these books on tape, you just start to see how crucial all this stuff is. And a lot of it, you're not taught this stuff. So you're just not aware of it. Once you're aware of it, then maybe you can start making some better changes. Had I been aware of this stuff while I was married, maybe I would have made a lot of changes. Maybe I would have realized sooner that this wasn't the right person for me. Maybe I would have maybe I would have been better at work and excelled in that direction and found a new passion. Like, it's just interesting to see what can happen. Definitely want to learn about the 30 causes of failures so that when you're aware of it, you can try to avoid it. And I also just thought it was interesting. Like, I'm just reading this book, and now I have an entire topic for a video. Like, that's pretty cool. But I'll leave it there today. I'm going to go home. I got to go to the gym today. I got a call with my buddy from Mexico. We're going to talk about just some things that we can improve on. We like to do masterminds, which, if you're familiar with this book, they talk about the importance of mastermind with like-minded individuals. So just talk some goals. And yeah, I think that's it for the day. So enjoy your Friday. This will be out on Friday, and we'll see you later.